I'm about to lose my brain stuck inside this ghetto rapture. I got a lot of smoke. If you want it, you can have it. They want a hat trick, but this is black girl magic. Ain't talking about the kind that'll make you disappear, but I'm talking about the power of the melanin within. Ain't looking for trouble, but I'ma say this one time. I put two dukes up if you try to touch mine. We still want justice for Samir and Trayvon. You say you don't see color, but racism ain't blind. They targeting little kids whose skin look just like mine. So I'm paranoid, it's a war zone outside. And I'm a black queen, so if you ask me to step out of my car, you gon' have to snatch me. Cause I ain't going no damn well. Had to spend my whole life living unfair. Ancestors got my back and they right here. You can never understand, it's a nightmare. Living in my black shoes by the black rules. You can keep your handshake, I don't dap coons. The white man that go nuts if he cash you. But you all on his side like a damn fool. Make it make sense.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden.
Make it make sense.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Amadeus.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Amadeus.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us is come together
Queen.
against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your
Amadeus.
hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your
Amadeus.
skin?
Parents, pay attention to the books, the school system, even to your little children. Lies mixed with wisdom. His skin too bright, so he was blind to the prison. My skin just right, so I collide with division. You trying to pray to God, but we tired of religion. No savior saving, we got to save our savings. We used to pay miss, how we gon' make the slave rich? But who's to blame, and tell me why you complaining? We need a team effort just to rule the nation. Like a bad relationship, missing communication. We missing moderation. They're trying to get a poison to my population. No reparations, I'm getting tired of Satan.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
I'm getting tired of waiting.
We are downtrodden.
Queen.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Amadeus.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Amadeus.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us.
Hello, Grand Rising, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen QueenAShakur show. Also, thanks to those of you tuned in on the Queen QueenAShakur TV show. I'm your host, Queen QueenAShakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channels if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click the notification bell and click the word all so that you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. If you don't like what the Queen is cooking, then please stay out of the kitchen. All right, that means exit stage left. Please don't come in whining and complaining. Okay, also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Dr._A_Shakur, on TikTok at Dr. A Shakur, and Twitter at DGoddess27. Make sure you double check to ensure that you're still subscribed to the channels, because you all know that people mysteriously become unsubscribed. Okay, hello, One Who Cares, RG Titan, Tia, Queen Sam, Wavy Though, Kathy B in the house, Mr. Hotel. All right, Juju, I see you, beloved. Kenyetta is here. Nita's in Mike's world. Okay, so let's get into it. The Undisputed Queen has arrived. Let's go. Thank you, Mr. Hotel, for your contribution to the channel, beloved. Peace, love, and blessings to you. Okay, so let's get started. Jeff ATL Howard. Okay. Ivan is in the house. Ethelene, Vince I am from the UK, Jawara. All right, Neffy, Terry Hinton, James. Shout out to everyone in the chat and everyone tuned into the Queen. Let's get it popping. Let's get it popping. Okay. So with that being said, let's just go ahead and talk about Tasha K and Cardi B first. Okay. Let's talk about it because Tasha K won that appeal. I mean, lost that appeal. She lost her appeal for $4 million, just as I knew she would. You see, here's the thing. The bottom line is this. Let this serve as a lesson to all people who create content. And when you do so, you speak about other people. Well, of course we do. We speak about news topics, trending topics. We speak about other people on YouTube and other platforms. And when doing so, you have to tell the truth about people. You can't just be making up lies and saying whatever you want to say. You can't be painting narratives. That's what you can't do. And even if you have information that you believe to be true, well, you should be able to back that truth up with receipts. You see, I myself had something similar where a person threatened that they were going to sue me for defamation, libel, and slander. Well, I wasn't the least bit concerned. They sent me a cease and desist, and I wasn't concerned because I knew that I was not lying, and I had backed up everything that I said with receipts, okay, from the federal government, from the court transcripts, and all of that. You see, when people say things to which they can't prove, that just makes it a rumor. That's just gossip. Okay? When you're speaking your opinion, you should never speak your opinion as it's a fact. You should let people know, I can't substantiate this. This is just my opinion. But in Tasha K's case, she brought this all on herself because she had one little thing that she could have done to prevent all of this. After those words left her mouth, all she had to do when Cardi B sent her the cease and desist and asked her to remove those videos, she could have simply just removed them. That's all she could have done. She could have simply removed them and she would not be owing $4 million. That is a lot of money. I would not want to ever give someone that kind of money, okay, especially from something so ridiculous that I could have prevented myself. Okay, now Tasha K has apologized to Cardi B and her attorneys, but I don't know if it was sincere or not, but at the end of the day, she's out of all that cash. Okay, so let's talk about it. And see, here's the thing. She basically tried to blame it on the courts as to why she lost her appeal, saying something about there was information that wasn't released. Well, here's the thing. The information that they got was what she said from her own videos, from her own testimony in court, and Cardi B provided receipts. Here's the thing I want to tell you all, because I've said this before. If someone is lying on you, if someone is saying things that are not true, all you have to do is prove that they're lying. And that should be able to be easily done with your own receipts. When a person is accused of something is alleged against them, and they don't come back and dispute it with their own proof and receipts, well, then just maybe what is being said is true, is all I'm saying. We have a case right now with Taharka Bey of Moorish World TV. He has filed a defamation suit against Tariq Nasheed for lying on him and calling him a sex offender. That case, I believe, is going to play out just like this case with Tasha K and Cardi B. Because unlike me and others, Tariq Nasheed didn't care to choose his words carefully. He thought that he could get up there and clout chase and say whatever he wanted to say and lie and show fake documentation and spew all kinds of BS about someone. And when he was asked to take it down, the videos, and to recant his statements, he refused to. He kept talking trash, and now he's facing a defamation, libel, and slander suit, of which I'm pretty sure that he's going to lose. Okay, I'm pretty sure he's going to lose. And when he has to pay out all that cash like Tasha K, maybe not as much, but when he has to pay out of pocket, he's going to regret, if not already, the things that he said. Because he knew those things were lies before he uttered them out of his mouth. Okay, that's just malicious. Anytime you tell lies on someone to damage their reputation, to cause them any type of grievance, you're just a malicious, low-down, dirty person. Now, you can have disputes with someone, and you can argue back and forth with someone and disagree or whatever. But at the end of the day, what you can't do and get away with it is just lie and defame people. That can be potentially dangerous. Okay, that can get someone deleted. That can have someone lose business and money and all sorts of things. And for that, you have to pay. So let's get into it further about Cardi B and Tasha K. Cardi B's $4 million defamation verdict against Tasha K is upheld by the appeals court. The gossip blogger had argued that the verdict was caused by lopsided evidence in favor of the rap star, but the federal court was unswayed. Honey, the reason she lost is because she did what Cardi B accused her of. She defamed her. And here's the thing. When this happened, I believe it was in 2018 when this all first started. But when this happened, well, it was obvious to me that Tasha K was lying. Because here's the thing. Common sense would say when she was spreading the rumors and the lies about Cardi having herpes, how would she have known that unless A, she slept with Cardi and Cardi gave it to her, B, Cardi told her, or 3, she saw Cardi's medical records. And I knew she hadn't done either of the 3. So it was just blatant lies. It was just blatant lies. But anyway, so that little argument that she posed, that didn't do anything for her case. Now, a federal appeals court on Tuesday upheld Cardi B's $4 million defamation verdict against gossip blogger Tasha K, who made salacious claims on YouTube about not only drug use, but STDs and prostitution. Now, in a 5-page decision, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 11th Circuit rejected an appeal for Tasha K, who had claimed that the massive verdict against her was the result of a very lopsided presentation of evidence to the jury. The appeals court ruled that Tasha K, whose real name is Latasha Kibi, had failed to properly make that argument to the judge, meaning that therefore she forfeited the right to do so before the appeals court. And likely she didn't make that argument before the judge because it wasn't true. Okay, how would it be lopsided evidence? And if so, her lawyer, her attorney should have followed up with that to argue it before the court. Now, defendant Latasha Kibi asked for a new trial, saying that there was insufficient evidence for the jury verdict against her. But as she all but admits, she didn't make either of the required post-verdict motions in district court. Tasha's attorneys had also argued that the judge overseeing the trial withheld key evidence that might have helped her beat Cardi's accusations, but the 11th Circuit court rejected that argument as well. Now she wants to blame it on the judge. Honey, blame it on yourself. I have nothing against Tasha K. I think she's good at what she does, but this time she went too far, and that's just what it is. Now, she never tells us more in the 5,500-page record the district court's alleged errors can be found. So she said there were errors. She said it was lopsided, but out of all of those pages, 5,500, she never pointed to one paragraph, one sentence. Nowhere did she point out where this occurred. They say because Kibi's briefs falls well short of what we require, she has basically abandoned this argument. Now, in a statement to Billboard, Cardi's attorneys Lisa Moore and Andrew Pinquino praised the court's ruling. They said, we're obviously pleased that the 11th Circuit Court has affirmed the jury's unanimous and important verdict, which we believe was more than amply supported by the evidence presented in the case. Tasha's attorney did not return a request for comments. Cardi B, whose real name is Bakalis Almanzar, sued Tasha in 2019 over what the rapper's lawyers called a malicious campaign on social media and YouTube aiming to hurt Cardi's reputation. That's exactly what it was. And most of the time, if not all, when someone defames and lies and slanders on someone, it's always malicious, 9 times out of 10. Now, the star's attorney said they had repeatedly tried and failed to get her to simply pull the videos down. But she refused. If you remember, Tasha K said when she received the cease and desist, she said she would wipe her butt with it. Now, one Tasha K video cited in the lawsuit includes a statement that Cardi had done sex acts with beer bottles on stripper stages. Other videos said the superstar had contracted herpes, that she had been a prostitute, that she had cheated on her husband, and that she had done drugs. Now, you all may remember, she actually said that Cardi's daughter was not Offset's, that it was some producer she'd been sleeping with for 2 years. Well, where did she get that information? Did Cardi tell her that? Did Offset tell her that? How would you know such things? But you see, people who listen to these salacious stories, they want to believe it because people who enjoy gossip love to hear negativity. They don't really want to hear the truth. And so therefore, they don't care if you're lying. Another thing is when people are devout followers of certain people on YouTube, they don't care if that person's lying on somebody else or not. They'll still back them up. Okay, but they have nothing to say when the person loses that money in court. Pay attention. Now, following a trial in January, jurors sided divisively with Cardi B, holding Tasha liable for defamation, invasion of privacy, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. They awarded more than $2.5 million in damages and another $1.3 million in legal fees incurred by the rapper. Judge William Ray later issued an injunction forcing her to pull the videos from the internet. Now, see, that's ironic. That's ironic because, see, she ends up paying $4 million and having to remove the videos anyway, when she could have simply just removed the videos in the beginning and saved herself the trouble. You see, the problem with this is people who have these big egos. They're driven by their egos. You know, they don't want to look stupid. They don't want to admit that they lied. They don't want to redact their statements. And so they'll just talk trash, you know, just like QueenAShakur was doing when Taharka sent him the cease and desist. He refused. His ego wouldn't allow him to. Okay. He has to keep up appearances. And I believe that's what Tasha K did as well. Could have just simply taken down the videos and called it a day. But now, sadly, she's been forced to take them down and still has to pay for her own foolishness. But let me continue. Now, Tasha appealed the verdict last summer, arguing in her opening appellate brief that Judge Ray withheld key details from jurors, and the verdict was the result of a very lopsided trial, basically said it was unfair. She vows to keep fighting the case all the way to the Supreme Court if need be, even if it takes years. Here's the thing. She would do that. Most people would try to do that because they want to keep it going and going, hoping that that'll just, you know, basically just try to keep from having to pay all that money. But here's the thing. The Supreme Court's not going to hear her case. Do you think that people can just go to the Supreme Court and waste their time? The Supreme Court chooses a very select few of cases to which they want to review. And I'm sure this will not be one. The Supreme Court doesn't care about what's going on between a YouTube blogger and a rapper. They don't care. That's not for them. I doubt she'll make it to the Supreme Court. So that's just ridiculous to even, think about doing. Because like I said, they have better fish to fry. Okay, bigger fish to fry. Now, following Tuesday's decision, a trip to the Supreme Court would be the procedural next step. But it's unclear if Tasha will actually do so. I doubt she will. And she's already apologized to Cardi B and her attorneys. Okay, why would you apologize if you felt that you were so right and that the trial was unfair? So goes on to say the high courts hear only a tiny fraction of the cases that is sent. And this is all very true. Now, the status of the $4 million in damages award is unclear. In September, Cardi's attorneys warned Judge Ray that Tasha might use the delay caused by her appeals to avoid paying. See, that's what people do. When they don't want to pay, they just keep trying to tie you up in court and just hold it off the inevitable. They say this is more than a hypothetical concern in the case. Cardi's attorneys wrote this at the time, saying that during litigation, Kibi bragged publicly that she had taken steps to insulate herself from judgment. And there have been recent online reports that Kibi has moved from Georgia to avoid enforcement of the judgment. Yeah, they said she's now moved to Florida. So a month later, Judge Ray ruled that Tasha would need to either immediately pay Cardi B or secure a bond covering the entire amount while she appeals. It's unclear if she has done either. So you can't run. That's what you can't do. If you owe the money, you're going to pay. Like I said, people love to try to tie you up in court so they can hold on to the cash. And specifically when you're on video bragging about what you're not going to do and all of that, well, this is how it turns out. Now she's been ordered to go ahead and hurry up and pay or secure a bond in the amount that's owed so Cardi B can get her cash, as she deserves. Okay, as she deserves. That's right, Crazy Beach, that Crazy Beach area she can't hide. And it's going to be the same thing with Taharka Bey and Tariq Nasheed. Please pay attention. Tariq will likely try to do the same foolishness. He'll try to tie Taharka up in court. But Taharka can do the exact same thing Cardi did. Just basically tell the judge what's going on and try to get that cash up front. Because I have no doubt that he's going to lose. And here's the thing. Like I said, Cardi B produced the receipts in court to prove that Tasha K was lying. Okay. She brought in medical records and all of that. A shame that she had to bring her personal medical records to prove her own, innocence, that she didn't do the things that, or didn't have the disease or whatever that Tasha K lied and said she did. But she brought those receipts. Okay. Just as Taharka Bay has the receipts, and he's already shown them on live. He's given us the case number. Anyone can go and look it up yourself and know that Tariq flat out lied. But he still continues to lie. And that's why he's going to court. And here's the thing I want to say about that too. What I find interesting is the fact that when Taharka Bay went to California to file the defamation suit, Tariq really didn't want people to focus on that. That's why he swung at Taharka. And then, like a childish grown man, he hopped on social media bragging, I just slapped the shit out of Taharka Bay. He did all of that. And see, his followers who are so devout, they're too stupid to realize this. But what he did was he only used that as a detraction and a distraction. You see, he basically didn't want people talking about how Taharka flew out there to file that defamation lawsuit, because Tariq had already bragged and said, oh, he ain't gonna file no defamation lawsuit because I ain't telling no lie. Well, he filed one. And he didn't want people talking about that, so he wanted to change the narrative and make it all about him slapping somebody. But really, foolishly, he's only made things worse for himself, because see, now him saying that is only going to be added to the lawsuit. So we're going to be added to the lawsuit. So let that serve as a lesson for all of us. You can't say things about people. You can't just make up stuff to say about people because you don't like them, because you don't like the fact that they're exposing you. If someone is exposing you and they're telling lies while doing so, and none of the things they're showing, none of the receipts are actual and factual, you can always come forward with the truth and show your receipts. What you don't do is make up lies to counter the truth. You see, lies can never counter truth, because the truth is just what it is, and it's not going anywhere. All right, pay attention. Okay, Jack the Diva said, foolish Bussy Rikians. Yes. They don't want to own up to the truth. They want to sit there and, clout chase. Those of them who are so devout to Bussy Reek, they just are clout chasers, most of them. Most of them, in actuality, they know that he's lying. They know he's a liar, a pathological liar. They know that he has said things against his own Black people that he claims to love so much and fight so hard for. They know that he has said things about reparations that were negative, talking about how we just waste the money and spend it all up in a month or 2 weeks. They know he said that he wants to put up the European flag in his bedroom. They know that he was over in Brazil praising white women while dogging Black ones. They know that he's a pathological liar. That's not a museum. It's a bar or a lounge. Okay, with a few pictures hung on the wall. Taharka showed where those few little things he has in there, that he bought them from Etsy for very cheap after he collected all that cash, millions. But at the end of the day, the bottom line is many of them, they know that he's a liar and a grifter, but they continue to defend him for clout. That's what it is, because they look at him as a millionaire, a rich celebrity. And some people are so, they don't have anything going on in their own lives, so they want to be close to that. That's what it is. Pay attention. That's right. That Crazy Beach area said they won't question him. No, they won't question him, because if they do, he'll simply block them, say they're plebiscite babbling, or just try to clown them with stupid jokes or make cartoons. He won't do anything seriously that a grown businessman who's a whole millionaire should be doing. He doesn't even act like a distinguished gentleman or someone who's, a millionaire and who's so such a strong proponent for his people. He doesn't even behave that way. But, a lot of people, and I want you all to pay attention, because this is the detriment of our people. A lot of our people are so foolish, and this is very sad to say, but it's true. A lot of our people are so foolish that all they care about is clout chasing, being caught up as a vanity slave with the name brands and all of that, being close to people whom they think are famous because they, engage in celebrity worship. That's all it is. And they love negativity, and they thrive on gossip and drama. That's what a lot of our people do. They thrive on gossip and drama. They just don't have any, justified business for themselves, nothing going on. So they live vicariously through people like Bussy Reek. And that's just what it is. And then when people call them out and him out, they want to foolishly try to spew insults as if they're in high school. Not even high school, elementary, quite frankly. I mean, in high school, I had more sense than that. I didn't act that childish even when I was in high school. And I'm being very honest about that. When you have grown men trying to insult people, saying foolish things, trolling people's channels and pages on different platforms, just trying to, defend someone who is just a whole liar and grifter. And that's already been proven with receipts, and who's likely a whole government informant. When you have Black people doing stuff like that, it is a sad day. Okay, that is why we stay at the bottom, because many of our people, they don't want to understand that the truth is what matters, and that unification is what we need. They want to sit there and spew the same talking points and racist rhetoric as wanton supremacists. They want to call people tethers. They want to call people names. And there are some Black immigrants who do the same thing. And to the Black immigrants and to the FBA minions who hate on people who look like them, all of them, whether you're from this country or another, if you are against melanated people who look like you and you spew divisive, wanton supremacist speaking points about those people, you are a fool. And I have no use for you, nor should any of us with common sense and critical thinking skills. And that includes, but not limited to, Bussy Reek and all of his minions. Pay attention. Okay, now let's get into the next topic. So I told you all the other day how Irvo Otieno, who's of African descent, passed away at the hands of 7 sheriff's deputies as well as some medical staff. And these people have been charged. So here's an update. They actually have released a video, which I'll show in a moment. But they say as many as 10 sheriff's deputies, for those of you who missed it, let me just give a brief overview. As many as 10 sheriff deputies and medical staff in Virginia's Central State Hospital can be seen piling on top of a shackled Irvo Otieno for approximately 11 minutes until he stops moving, according to a new video showing the encounter that led to the 28-year-old man's deletion. Now, the hospital surveillance video, which has no sound, by the way, okay, it has no sound, shows Otieno's final moments on March the 6th from the time Henrico County Sheriff's deputies dragged him from a hospital into a hospital admissions room in handcuffs and leg irons. So the man was clearly bound. So why would it take 10 people to restrain or subdue him? He was clearly bound. I don't know why it would take that many people to just pile up on him. Like a pack of wild dogs is how they behaved, as far as I'm concerned. Now, in the 11 minutes in which they restrained Otieno on the ground to the moment when they released Otieno's limp body, it was around 4:40 p.m. Minutes later, video shows workers beginning to apply chest compressions and a defibrillator machine to his upper body before a medical technician drapes him with a white sheet at approximately 5:48. Here's the thing. They've also been accused of a cover-up because it was 3 hours before they even reported that he was deceased. Okay? And they punched him. They pepper sprayed him and all of that as well. This is a person who was bound, hands and feet. Now, Otieno of Henrico, Virginia, is the latest Black man to die at the hands of law enforcement in an incident that was caught on camera, sparking community outrage and calls for accountability. Otieno's family has said his death bears a resemblance to how they did George Floyd in 2020. And that sparked many demonstrations, as we know. It also follows the demise of Tyree Nichols, a 29-year-old Black man who passed away after being pulled over and beaten by police during a traffic stop in Memphis earlier this year. That incident, too, was caught on camera. They say, let me be clear. Mental illness is not a crime. Being a Black man in America is not a crime. This is what the NAACP chief executive, Derek Johnson, said in a statement about Otieno's case. He said, no person should ever face this level of violence from those who are meant to serve and protect and treat people facing mental health crises. Dinwiddie County community attorney Commonwealth's attorney Ann Cabell Baskerville charged 7 Henrico County Sheriff's deputies and 3 staff members at the hospital with second-degree murder in Otieno's death, and said that she expects more arrests and charges. Now, a grand jury in Dinwiddie County, where the hospital is located, indicted the 10 defendants Tuesday morning, according to court records. The prosecutor had said Otieno's death of asphyxiation was law enforcement officers and hospital staff. It was all because they piled up on top of him. And so, death by asphyxiation. Basically, the same thing that happened to George Floyd. It was with George Floyd, it was ruled positional asphyxiation. Now, in court on Tuesday, Baskerville said there was no evidence Otieno had been combative, and that he certainly did not deserve to be smothered to death. Defense attorneys for several of those charged have asserted their client's innocence or suggested they did not apply lethal force. Now, in a public filing in the case on Monday, Baskerville listed Dropbox links containing the footage as part of her obligation to turn over information to defense attorneys. The attorneys for 2 defendants sought to block the release of the video in court filings Monday, arguing that by releasing evidence or giving statements to the news media, prosecutors could influence the pool of potential jurors and prevent defendants from receiving a fair trial. This is interesting to me. So they're worried about their clients receiving a fair trial, but none of their clients were worried or concerned about Otieno receiving fair treatment. Otieno's family and their civil rights attorney, Ben Crump and Mark Crudis, viewed the hospital surveillance video last week and urged prosecutors to release it to the public. At a news conference Tuesday, Otieno's mother, Caroline Oyuku, said that her son was a sensitive and caring young man, gentle and slow to anger. She said those 10 monsters, those 10 criminals, they treated him like a dog. Now, you all remember that. I'm going to show that video again. And then we'll show the video. We'll show the video of what they did to him. And again, there's no sound in that video. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance.
The Mentos gum bottle is recyclable just like paper, which makes it less painful, more wallpaperable, and more shreddable. Mentos Pure Fresh Gum. Yes to fresh.
What I saw today was heartbreaking, America. It was disturbing. It was traumatic. My son was tortured, to put it right. I saw the torture. My son was treated like a dog, worse than a dog. I saw it with my own eyes on the video.
What I saw, I witnessed a homicide. I did not think in my life that I witnessed my own blood brother being murdered.
Thank you, Leon. You see him being restrained so brutally with knee on his neck, the weight of 7 individuals on his body while he's face down, handcuffed with leg irons. And you say, my God, why?
It was a circumstance where you see 7 deputies with their deputy attire, tan and brown, and the force of them is, you can see that they're putting their back into it. Every part of his body is being pushed down with absolute brutality. You cannot even see his image many times. And we kept on saying, and the family was making the statement, why? Why is this occurring?
DC Statehood.
Okay, so I'm going to show the video of what happened. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance. So you all saw that. I mean, that was just ridiculous. All of them, like I said, piled up on top of him. Why did they need that many people for one person whose hands and feet were bound? And also, they pepper sprayed him. He clearly was subdued. That was very, quite frankly, unnecessary. Okay, that was unnecessary. And they deserve to be charged. And I hope that they're all found guilty of the charges because that was very inhumane. But see, this is how they treat people who have mental health issues. A person who has mental health issues should be not treated like a common thug or criminal. Okay? Oh, so crazy. This is really sad. But, we'll see how this trial unfolds. Yes, they are murderers. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, and then how they just stood around. There seemed no sense of urgency. They didn't seem to be, trying to quickly revive him. Now, they did give him chest compressions and use a defibrillator, but it took them a while before they even did that. They just stood around looking at him, likely trying to plot their story about how it all happened. Because, as I said, they also didn't report it for a whole 3 hours. Okay? That's right. Lucius says life means nothing. It didn't mean anything to them. Absolutely not. So anyway, very sad situation. Condolences to his family. Now let's talk about the Uvalde cops. So I want you all to pay attention because months ago when they had the Uvalde elementary school shooting, I told you all that those cops were cowards. I told you all that if they didn't want to, if they didn't have any type of bravery and they were scary, why would you become a police officer? At the end of the day, if you may recall, Wig was sitting on her platform lying and saying that they were ordered to stand down. Now, I don't know where she got that news from, but see, here's the thing. When you're reporting the news, please just report the facts. And if you report your opinion, as I said, please let it be known that it's your opinion. She kept saying that she was told or she heard that they were told to stand down. No, there's proof that, like I said, they were cowards and they were afraid. Okay? And that was obvious to me because a lot of police are scary. That's why sometimes they just start shooting like idiots because they're afraid. Okay? When it's one of us specifically. And so let's talk about it because here's what they say. Cops who failed to rush in during the Uvalde school massacre repeatedly admitted to being too scared of the teen shooter's AR-15 battle rifle, according to a new investigation. Now, body camera footage captured some of the first responders to Robb Elementary last May, warning that shooter Salvador Ramos, who was 18 years old, had an AR. And here's what one of the officers said. I want y'all to pay attention. He said, he has a battle rifle, someone warned, as another officer getting the same warning reacted with a blunt F. That's what he said. Oh, F. When they found out he had this rifle. So then someone says, what's the safest way to do this? I'm not trying to get clapped out. That's what State Trooper Richard Bagdonsky said. He was heard saying this while he was standing outside the school. See, witnesses heard them. They were clearly cowards. That's what it was. That's why they waited so long before they took any action to save those poor children. Isn't that something? But these are the people they're supposed to serve and protect. Now, I'm not saying all cops are cowards. Clearly, that's not the case. Not all cops are corrupt. Not all cops are racist. No, but there are some that are. Now, while mass shooter training tells officers to risk their lives to immediately try to end the carnage, officers repeatedly admitted they feared being overpowered by that weapon. And this is according to the investigation, which also cited previously unpublished interviews with investigators. Cops felt overpowered even as several were seen with the same type of rifle or very similar rifles to the one that he had. Uvalde Police Department handout. They say, once we found out it was a rifle that he was using, it was a different game plan we would have had to come up with. This is what Detective Louis Landry later told investigators, claiming that they didn't feel like they were equipped to make entry into the room without several casualties. So they knew that some of them might get deleted and they didn't want to face it. That's what it is. It wasn't just going in guns blazing like the Old West and take him out, they said. It was, he has this rifle, one cop says, with another replying, saying the F word. Now, Lieutenant Javier Martinez later told investigators that he feared Ramos would continue blazing and the rounds would have gone right through you. The rounds would go right through you. So we don't want to go in there. Okay, that's what he said. He says, had anybody gone through that door, he would have deleted them, whoever it was. This is what Martinez says, justifying the shocking 77-minute delay even as trapped fourth graders called 911 begging for help. Let me tell y'all something. This is a darn shame. Okay? This is a darn shame. There were innocent children in there, fourth graders, 9 and 10 years old. And the police were afraid for their own lives. Well, here's the thing. If they were afraid, how do they think those poor children felt? How do they think those poor children felt? Fourth graders. This is pitiful. And some of the parents tried to go in, if you remember, and they were held back. The parents had more courage than them, is what I'm saying. So anyway, goes on to say, had anyone gone through the door, he would have deleted them. Now, 19 students and 2 teachers died that day. Another of those first on the scene was Sergeant Daniel Coronado. Also, he told investigators of similar fears when he realized that it was a rifle. And he was heard saying, "Oh, shite, it's a rifle." So people heard them saying all this scared to death stuff. Okay, pay attention. Someone says the way he was shooting, he was probably going to take all of us out. This is what he says. This is what he said of the widely condemned decision to wait for reinforcements, even as 400 officers from various forces eventually arrived. Officers feared the lone teen could take us all out. Now, this is what Uvalde Sergeant Donald Page said, and he also blamed the failure to storm in and confront Ramos on them knowing that his weapon was definitely an AR-15. They said there was no way of going in. We had no choice but to wait and to try to get something that had better coverage where we could actually stand up to him. Officers chose to wait the arrival of a Border Patrol SWAT team, even though it was 60 miles away, a whole hour. In fact, over an hour. This is what the investigation states. Now, at least 3 of the 21 students and teachers who died that day were still alive when officers finally decided to storm in. The doomed police response sparked mass outrage. James Keevom, this is what James Keevom says. Now, the since fired school district police chief, Pete Arredondo, readily admitted the officers that he led would be scrutinized for why they didn't go in there. So he said this even before people started calling them cowards. People started saying they were afraid. He already knew they were going to be scrutinized, because here's the thing. All of these police officers inside the building, outside the hallway, in the hallway, right in front of the door to the classroom, standing out there contemplating, scared to death, and not doing anything while he's in there shooting students and teachers. Those poor children, I want you to picture those poor children hiding under desks, under tables, trying to comfort one another, afraid for their little lives, while the police standing outside waiting for help to arrive when there was more of them. Yeah, somebody would have definitely gotten shot if they had stormed in. Someone definitely may have caught some bullets or whatever, yes. But that's the chance that you take when you become a police officer. You know that it is a dangerous job. It's just like firefighters who rush into burning homes and buildings to save people. It's the same thing. But, you know, in many cases, the firefighters are much more brave than a lot of police. Okay, pay attention. And so anyway, one of them says, I know the firepower that he had based on what shells I saw. the holes in the wall in the room next to his, the preservation of life, everything around. The gunman, well, it was a priority. Now, as well as keeping terrified cops away, the high-powered rifle also explained the complete carnage inside the classrooms, with Ramos firing more than 100 rounds at students and teachers at point-blank range. Here's the thing. If they had rushed in and just stormed the room, quite frankly, maybe that would have startled him. Maybe if they had done so quickly, they could have caught him off guard while he had his back to them, while he's trying to shoot these children. Maybe they could have stormed in and grabbed him. You know what I'm saying? Something. Anything other than stand there contemplating and waiting for help because you're scared to death. So anyway, he shot these children and the teachers at point blank range. That means it was up close and personal. Now, as well as, several victims lost, oh my goodness, this is just awful. Several victims, they say, lost large portions of their heads and left baseball-sized holes in others. Can you imagine? This is all so crazy. This is all so sad and pathetic, okay? Some of those children's heads were literally blown in half. And they saw all of this from the crime scene photos. Ramos legally bought the weapons and a mass of ammunition somewhere online just days prior to him turning, or days after him turning 18. Ramos legally bought the weapons and stockpiled ammo for his 18th birthday. The Tribune said that none of the officers quoted in the released documents were willing to be interviewed for its investigation. No, they don't want to be interviewed. They don't want to show their cowardly faces. They don't want everyone to see who they really are. We can have their names, but if we don't have a face to go with it, well, we won't know exactly which ones of them were the cowards who stood there while these innocent children were deleted. So anyway, they go on to say that amid ongoing outrage at the police response, relatives of some of the dead pupils told the paper that hundreds of cops feeling overpowered by one barricaded teen is proof of AR-15 style weapons and the fact that they need to be regulated. Police knew the monster behind the door was not the kid. It's the rifle the kid was holding, says Jesse Rizzo, whose 9-year-old niece, Jackie Cazares, was one of the 19 children that were killed. It's the freaking AR that they were afraid of. This man had enough time to do it with his hands or a baseball bat. And so it's not the gun. This is what someone else says. It's the person. Republican Senator Bob Hall said this during a hearing a month after the shooting. He says it wasn't the gun. It was the person who was holding it. Either way, the police were cowards. And then there's pictures of the family members and relatives picketing, protesting, holding up signs calling the Uvalde police cowards. As they were. So just all a very sad set of circumstances. And revisiting this story is still harrowing and still very unsettling. Just to know that these little children, 9 years old, 10 years old, and their beloved teachers scrambling, trying to hide, trying to protect themselves. And this is the fate. And then imagine the other children seeing children getting killed and knowing that they're likely going to be next. The police standing outside in the hallway. And I wonder if those children and teachers saw the police out there in the hallway, heard them out there in the hallway, and realized that they were not coming to lift a finger to help them before they passed away. This is all so sad. It really is. It really is. At the end of the day, when you sign up for certain jobs, you should already understand and know the risks that are involved. You should already know that you may have to risk your own life to save someone else's, specifically a child. So anyway, very sad indeed. But now let's talk about Moderna, because I find this very interesting. After giving billions to them, the U.S. government wants to bail out Moderna. Isn't that something? They've given them billions of dollars. Now they want to bail them out. So Moderna CEO Stephanie Bancel is setting to testify before the Senate's top healthcare committee on Wednesday as the federal government generously offers to bail his company out of a patent infringement lawsuit. And so I'm going to gather, since it's a him, his name is not Stephanie, but it's spelled Stephane. So it must be Stephane, I guess. But anyway, they say they want to bail him out of this patent infringement lawsuit. Now, the purpose of Wednesday's Health, Labor, Education, and Pensions committee hearing is to question Bancel about drug prices after Moderna proposed quadrupling the price of its C-19 shot. Independent Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, who's the chairman of this organization, and Republican Louisiana Senator Bill Cassidy, the committee's ranking member, have long advocated for lower drug prices. Now, the Biden administration's entanglement with ongoing litigation related to patent infringement has received less attention than the issue of vaccine pricing for Moderna. They say it's currently fighting off a lawsuit from Arbutus Biopharma and Genevant Sciences, a pair of small biotechnology firms that allege Moderna stole their technology to develop its C-19 venom. Moderna reported $18.4 billion in revenue in 2021 and $19.2 billion in 2022, with the lucrative venom contract driving a huge increase from the roughly $800 million that the company made in 2020. You see, y'all hear the prices, y'all hear about all this cash, right? You hear about all this cash, so you have to ask yourself, was this all about money? I'd like to know. Bancel was compensated handsomely, ranking in more than $400 million between salary, stock sales, and other forms of payment. Arbutus and Genevant alleged that Moderna infringed on their patents for lipid nanoparticle technology, which they claim took years of incredibly challenging work for their scientists to develop. If the lawsuit succeeds, the companies could earn royalties from Moderna as compensation, which could add up quickly with so much money being involved. Much of the money flowed into Moderna's coffers from the wallets of American taxpayers. So we paid for it. Pay attention. Now, for almost the entire pandemic, Stupid 19 venoms were purchased directly by the U.S. government and distributed for free to Americans who wanted to get those injections. Moderna also got nearly $2.5 billion from the government to fund venom developments. So let me get this straight. The United States government has $2.5 billion to give to them, Moderna that is, and they have all these other hundreds of billions to give to Ukraine, but they can't come up with reparations for us, the most disparaged people in this country, the ones most likely to be treated disproportionately, biased, racist, and to be exterminated by law enforcement and wanton supremacists. They don't have money to give us. Pay attention. They need to talk about it. They need to have discussions and panels to review it. But they have all this money. They didn't review any of this. Billions, hundreds of billions. Now the Biden administration is attempting to offer the company another windfall. Last month, the Department of Justice filed a statement of interest in the Moderna lawsuit, offering to take on liability for the company's alleged patent infringement. Such a move would result in the Treasury Department being responsible for potential damages from the suit rather than Moderna itself. So they are going to take the blame for Moderna. The day after that statement of interest was filed, Moderna announced an agreement to offer its Stupid 19 venom to the uninsured and the underinsured at no cost, following pushback from Democratic lawmakers against the proposed price hike. Moderna's defense in the lawsuit isn't that the company didn't steal the critical technology it's accused of stealing. Okay, that's not what they're saying. Instead, the company claims that thanks to an obscure 100-year-old statute, liability in the case actually belongs to the United States government because it funded the development and purchase of the end product that's in question. Despite the DOJ agreeing that taxpayers should take the blame, U.S. District Judge Mitchell Goldberg denied Moderna's motion to dismiss the case on those grounds. You see, Goldberg said that Moderna hadn't proven the shots were made for the government, rather than the government simply incidentally benefiting from them. As a result, the legal battle rages on. Now, it's unclear why exactly the Biden administration would offer to waive or to save Moderna from itself if it did, in fact, steal key technology. They want to know, why would Biden and his administration even be trying to bail them out, if they did what they're accused of. It is also unclear whether the government's offer to shift the bill to American taxpayers is connected to Moderna's sudden decision to give out free venom. It remains to be seen whether Bancel will be questioned about the topic on Wednesday, when he is expected to be grilled by lawmakers on other allegedly problematic business practices that have built his billion-dollar company. So I just want y'all to pay attention, because the government that we live under the rule of, these devils want to give more billions of dollars to a company that's already worth billions, so they don't have to lose their billions. Meanwhile, we have homeless veterans lying on the street, sleeping on the concrete. We have people that have a myriad of mental health issues who get no treatment because there are no mental health facilities for them to go to and be treated. Instead, they get deleted by the police and foolish medical staff like Irvo Otieno. But they have all these billions to just give away, and they can't give us what they owe us. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? Eileen says, make it make sense. Absolutely, beloved, and I'm sure they cannot. So this is what it is. They want to bail out the rich while the poor people continue to struggle and suffer. The divided snakes literally has the ability to print money out of thin air. This is what they've always done. But when it comes to us, they have nothing but excuses. That's what they have. When it comes to the homeless veterans, many who suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder and other things, they have nothing but excuses. When it comes to the mental health of their own citizens, they have nothing but excuses. Just want y'all to pay attention. This is all so crazy. All so crazy, but this is what it is. And by the way, hold on. Hold on, beloveds. I'm texting back someone that I'm supposed to be interviewing today. Anyway, Black and Silver said, hi, Queen. I love this reporting. Thank you, beloved. I just do the best that I can do. Okay, now listen to this. Listen to this. I find this very interesting. So, a former Walmart manager has been arrested after leaving the store with $135,000 in a shopping bag. Isn't that something? $135,000 in a shopping bag. I find this interesting because you see, those Walmarts that caught on fire, I told you all it was likely an inside job, in my opinion, but they put two pictures of Black men out and said that they were suspects, persons of interest, they called them. Now, saying that they set it on fire so they could go in there and steal. And as I pointed out to you, from looking at the pictures of those two Black men, one of them had a suitcase in his cart. The other had bottled water and a few other groceries. So you mean to tell me they set the Walmart on fire so they could just go in there and steal water, food, and a suitcase? I mean, if someone's going to go through all of that trouble to commit arson so that they can just steal, I would think they would be stealing things that are much more expensive and things that they could easily sell for a huge profit, like electronics. Okay, so I knew that was all cap, and you all should have known too. So listen to this. Melissa Vanderwall, Doesn't sound like someone who looks like me by the last name. Pay attention. But 47-year-old Melissa Vanderwall was caught on surveillance footage leaving the Walmart that she worked at with $135,000 in cash. Now, the cash was emptied from cash recyclers used to restock registers, according to reports. So she got this out of the cash recyclers. Vanderwall turned herself in on Monday, months after a warrant for her arrest was issued for the crime. A former Walmart manager in northern Illinois is now in police custody for taking that money. So now she's in police custody. They say the alleged theft is on video surveillance camera. She reportedly ended her shift that day, ended it early after filling the shopping bag with the cash. And she's being charged with theft and burglary and was jailed on a $100,000 bond on Tuesday. According to Patch.com, local police were called to the scene the same day that the crime took place, and an arrest warrant was issued for her just 2 days later. Detectives were actively investigating this case, and it was believed that she had left the area. They say it's unclear why Vanderwall chose to turn herself into police. When asked about how much of the stolen money in his department was able to be recovered, English didn't give details, didn't go into that in an effort to protect the prosecutorial integrity of the case. Some people are just absolutely too much. Absolutely too much. So she done stole all this cash, honey. What kind of drug is she on, says Claudette? Honey, you know what? She may not be on drugs. She may just be greedy. Or she may just say, hey, I need this cash. They're closing down Walmarts. Walmarts are getting set on fire and they're not going to reopen. So let me just help myself. That's probably what she said, as far as I'm concerned. This is all so crazy, honey. This is all so crazy. Anyway, with that all being said, everyone please like and share. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, or to the channels. Make sure you subscribe to the channels if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click the notification bell and click the word all, so that you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Dr._A_Shakur, TikTok, Dr. A Shakur, Twitter at DGoddess27. I want to thank you all for tuning in, and I will be live later on today on the spiritual channel. So with that all being said, for those of you who don't know about the spiritual channel, it's Queen Amadai TV, More Than Meets the Third Eye. Okay? Make sure you tune in on there. And Ray Williams said, Queen cannot help herself. Right. GL said her check wasn't big enough. Well, I guess she didn't think so. You're welcome, Kathy B. Beloved. So with that all been said, I wish you all love, peace, and prosperity. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives.
With that Soul all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now.
That's
See
right.
a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy.
Real slick.
I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece. This time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got